23 years, 95 quarterly rebalances. Quality stocks bought near their annual lows, held for 1 quarter, sold, replaced. Does buying beaten down companies with strong balance sheets actually produce better returns than just holding the index? The answer is no. 6.86% compound annual growth rate versus 9.67% for the S&P 500. That's minus 2.81 percentage points of excess return per year. But the story of when and why it fails and when it doesn't is worth the full breakdown. The universe is NYSE, NASDAQ, and AMEX stocks with a market cap above $500 million. No S&P 500 membership filter, no point-in-time index reconstruction. This is a broad U.S. equity screen, not a constituent tracking strategy. We rebalance quarterly in January, April, July, and October. At each rebalance, we compute the 52-week low using trailing price data, find stocks within 15% of that low, and apply the Piotroski F-score filter. The F-score runs 9 binary tests across profitability, leverage, and operating efficiency. A stock needs to pass at least 7 of those 9 tests to qualify. The top 30 qualifying stocks, ranked by proximity to their 52-week low, make the portfolio. Equal weight, held until the next quarterly rebalance. If fewer than 5 stocks qualify, we hold cash. Fundamental data uses a 45-day lag to prevent look-ahead bias. A January screen only uses financial data that was publicly reported by mid-November. Transaction costs are modeled at 0.1% per trade. Full methodology is on GitHub, Ceta Research, Backtests/methodology.md. The Piotroski F-score is what separates this from a naive 52-week low screen. Without it, you're buying every beaten-down stock, and most of them deserve to be there. The F-score tests 9 things across 3 categories: profitability, positive net income, positive operating cash flow, improving return on assets, and cash flow exceeding net income to catch accrual manipulation. Leverage and liquidity, declining long-term debt ratio, improving current ratio, and no share dilution. Operating efficiency, improving asset turnover, and improving gross margin. A score of 7 or higher means the company is improving on at least 7 of 9 dimensions. Paired with a near 52-week low price, you're buying operational momentum at a beaten-down valuation. In theory, this should be a clean mean reversion signal. In practice, the U.S. market punishes it. Over 22 through 2025, across 23.8 years, here's what happened. $10,000 invested in January 2002 grew to $48,393 by end of 2025. The same amount in SPY, the S&P 500 index fund, grew to $89,588. You left about $41,000 on the table by picking stocks instead of holding the index. The Sharpe ratio of 0.226 tells the risk-adjusted story even more clearly. SPY delivered 0.468. For every unit of volatility you took on, the strategy gave you less than half the reward. The down capture of 111.54% is the central problem. When SPY falls, this portfolio falls harder. Stocks near 52-week lows are, by definition, already under pressure. In a systemic sell-off, they have further to fall. The Piotroski filter removes the most distressed names, but it doesn't prevent the broad repricing of beaten-down stocks. Across all 95 quarters, the strategy always found enough qualifying stocks to deploy capital. 0 cash periods. That means the U.S. market never ran out of quality names near their annual lows. What's in short supply isn't candidates. It's the ability of those candidates to bounce back in a market increasingly driven by a few dominant names. Clear patterns emerge across the 24-year period. The strategy earned its returns in 2 windows. First, the dot-com bust and early recovery from 2002 to 2004, with plus 7.36%, plus 19.06%, and plus 8.81% of excess return. Second, the post-financial crisis bounce, with plus 16.98% excess in 2010 and plus 21.37% in 2012. 2016 and 2020 were also strong years. Post-Brexit uncertainty and pandemic recovery created dislocations where quality near 52-week lows was genuinely mispriced. 2020 was the strongest single year of the test, with positive 25.48% of excess return. But every other environment hurt. 2021 was the worst single year, plus 5.74%, while SPY returned plus 31.26%. That's minus 25.52% of excess return. And 2024 was even more extreme, minus 5.72%, while SPY did plus 25.28%, a gap of 29 percentage points. In those years, US market returns were driven entirely by a handful of mega-cap technology names that never appear in a 52-week low screen. 2025 continued the trend. The strategy returned 1.6% while the index gained 15.5%, 3 consecutive years of underperformance to close out the period. The strategy outperforms in market dislocations and underperforms in trending bull markets. The mechanism is mean reversion. Stocks near 52-week lows with improving fundamentals are pricing in continued deterioration that doesn't materialize. When the negative narrative fades, they re-rate. It works after crashes. The 2002 to 2004 post.com window and the 2010 to 2012 window after the global financial crisis are the clearest examples. Surviving beaten-down companies that maintained financial health bounced hard when credit markets normalized. It works during dislocations. 2016 after Brexit, positive 4.58% excess. 2020 after pandemic shutdowns, plus 25.48% excess. Both created indiscriminate selling where the quality filter was genuinely separating mispriced stocks from broken ones. It fails when momentum dominates. Since 2013, the US market has been increasingly driven by a handful of high-multiple technology and growth companies: Microsoft, Nvidia, Meta, Apple. These stocks don't appear in 52-week low screens. A portfolio that by design holds none of them will lag during any year where tech leadership drives the index, which describes most of 2013 through 2024. It also fails because mean reversion in the US is aggressively arbitraged. When a quality stock hits a 52-week low, institutional quant desks see it the same day. The reversion gets priced quickly, reducing the edge available to a quarterly rebalance. The strategy needs fear and dislocation to generate excess returns. In calm, trend-in markets where the biggest companies keep getting bigger, it has nothing to offer. Down capture is the core structural problem. At 111.54%, this portfolio amplifies market declines. That's not a parameterization issue. It's embedded in the design. Stocks near their 52-week lows carry elevated downside risk by definition. Even with the Piotroski filter, the universe still skews toward companies facing genuine headwinds. Beta of 1.118 means you're taking on more market risk than the index, with less return to show for it. Negative alpha of negative 3.71% means after adjusting for that beta exposure, the strategy generates negative excess return. No overlap with megacap tech. This isn't a bug, but it's a structural headwind that grows stronger as US market concentration increases. A screen targeting near 52-week low stocks will never hold companies in sustained uptrends. Quarterly rebalancing with a 45-day lag creates a timing gap. A stock that qualifies in January but deteriorates by March stays in the portfolio until April. The Piotroski F-score uses annual filings, so you can be holding a company whose most recent annual data looked fine, but whose current trajectory has shifted. The negative 48.17% maximum drawdown is the real-world experience of watching nearly half your money disappear while the strategy is doing exactly what it's designed to do. The full backtest results, annual return tables, and the code to reproduce everything are on the blog at cetaresearch.com. Link in the description. If you want to run the screen yourself or test different parameters, the backtest code is open source on GitHub. This is one of the strategies in our Strategies That Failed series, because we think honesty about what doesn't work is more valuable than cherry-picking winners. Subscribe if you want the next systematic strategy. There are 49 more in the pipeline.